Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dives from the Moore's Global Finance Podcast team. I'm John,
I'm Tiffany.
and we are your hosts for this deep dive into precious metals investing. So it sounds like you're thinking about precious metals for retirement, right?
Smart move.
And you're looking at two of the biggest names out there, Augusta Precious Metals and Noble Gold Investments.
Yeah, they're both great options, but you know how it is.
You want to make sure you're making the right choice.
Exactly. So we're going to break it all down for you.
We'll cover their services, their fees, what customers are saying, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So by the end of this, you'll have all the info you need to make a smart decision for your golden years. Pun intended.
Definitely intended. And it's really a good time to be looking into precious metals, especially with all the economic craziness going on.
Right.
A lot of investors turn to gold and silver when things get uncertain.
Yeah, because
They're seen as a safe haven. Historically, they've held their value really well, especially during inflation.
which is a big concern these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's start with Augusta Precious Metals,
Okay.
founded in 2012 by Isaac Nuriani.
Yeah, and they've built a solid reputation.
They have. And get this, Joe Montana is one of their clients, the Joe Montana.
No way.
Yeah. Apparently his financial advisors recommended them.
Wow. That says a lot right there.
It does. And another thing that stood out to me about Augusta is their focus on education. They have Devlin Steele, a Harvard-trained economist, leading the charge there.
That's really impressive. Shows they're serious about helping investors understand the ins and outs of precious metals.
Definitely. Now, let's talk about Noble Gold Investments,
Okay.
founded by Colin Plume.
Their mission is to make precious metals investing accessible to everyone.
Love that. And they have Charlie Kirk, the political commentator, as one of their supporters.
So both companies seem to have some serious street cred.
They do, but let's go beyond the names and the hype.
Right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
What services do they actually offer?
So both companies offer gold and silver IRAs, which means you can hold physical gold or silver in your retirement account.
Okay.
And they also let you buy metals directly if you don't want to go the IRA route. And of course, they both offer secure storage options. Super important because you don't want to be stashing gold bars under your mattress.
Right. Definitely not. Now, you mentioned IRAs, but can you break down what makes a self-directed IRA different from a regular one?
Sure. So a traditional IRA usually limits you to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, those kinds of things.
Right.
But a self-directed IRA gives you more control. You can invest in a wider range of assets like precious metals, real estate, even private businesses.
So it's basically about having more options for your retirement portfolio.
Exactly. And both Augusta and Noble Gold can help you set up and manage a self-directed IRA. They've got you covered.
That's good to know. Now, what about the things that set these companies apart? Do they have any unique features or services?
They do. Augusta Precious Metals really emphasizes their lifetime support. They're there for you every step of the way, not just during the initial setup. You get ongoing guidance and advice from their team of experts.
So it's like having a precious metals mentor on call whenever you need them.
Exactly. Really valuable, especially if you're new to all this.
For sure. Now, Noble Gold, what's their unique angle?
They offer something called emergency packs.
Emergency packs, what are those?
They're basically pre-selected assortments of precious metals designed for quick liquidation in a crisis.
Like a precious metals go bag for emergency.
Yeah. If things hit the fan, you've got assets you can easily convert to cash.
That's pretty smart. So Augusta's all about the long-term hand-holding, while Noble Gold has these unique emergency packs for those just-in-case scenarios.
Exactly. Different approaches, but both aim to help investors achieve their goals.
Okay, so far so good. But let's talk about the bottom line fees and minimum investments.
Right. That's always important.
What are we looking at there?
So Augusta charges a one-time setup fee of $50, an annual administrative fee of $80, and a yearly storage fee of $100.
Okay.
Noble Gold waives the setup fee, but their yearly storage fee is a bit higher, $150. Their annual admin fee is the same as Augusta's, $80.
So Noble Gold saves you on the setup, but their storage is pricier. What about the minimum investments?
That's where it gets interesting. Noble Gold has a lower minimum for IRAs, just 20 grand.
Oh,
But Augusta requires a $50,000 minimum.
wow, big difference.
If you're buying metals directly outside of an IRA, Augusta has a lower minimum.
So it depends on how you want to invest, right?
Yep, lots to think about.
There is. And speaking of thinking about things, what are people actually saying about these two companies?
Yes, the all-important customer reviews.
Let's start with Augusta. They seem to be crushing it in the customer satisfaction department. Consistently high ratings across the board, TrustLink, Google, Consumer Affairs, the Better Business Bureau, you name it.
Seems like their focus on transparency, education, and making the whole process easy is really resonating with folks.
Yeah, people rave about their learning tools, their webinars, and the fact that there's no pressure to buy.
That's awesome. Noble Gold also gets positive feedback, especially for their responsive team and helpful guidance.
Okay.
But they do have some mixed reviews out there, too.
Yeah, not everyone's singing their praises.
Some people have mentioned communication gaps or unexpected fees. It's worth noting that Noble Gold is a newer company compared to Augusta, so their track record isn't as long.
That makes sense. So Augusta's got that consistent good reputation, while Noble Gold has a bit of a mixed bag.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's really up to you to weigh these factors and decide which company aligns with your needs and your gut feeling.
Absolutely. And speaking of taking action, let's walk through the actual steps of getting started with both companies.
Love it. Breaking it down into bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. Sometimes taking that first step can feel daunting, but it's really not that complicated. Let's start with Augusta Precious Metals.
Okay, step one, learn the ropes.
Augusta emphasizes education before anything else. They've got tons of resources on their website to help you understand the basics of precious metals investing.
So first you do your homework, then you jump in.
Exactly. Once you've got a solid foundation, you schedule a one-on-one chat with one of their experts.
Okay.
This is where you talk about your goals, ask questions, and get personalized advice, like a strategy session, just for you.
I like it. So you learn the basics, chat with an expert, and then what?
If you decide to open an IRA, Augusta will help you set it up with one of their trusted custodian partners. They handle all the paperwork and logistics.
Sounds pretty seamless.
It is. And once the account's open, you fund it. You can transfer funds from an existing retirement account or make a new contribution. Augusta walks you through it all.
Okay, makes sense.
Then comes the fun part, choosing your metals. Augusta's team will work with you to pick the best gold or silver products based on your goals and the current market conditions.
So you're not just thrown into the deep end? Nope, they've got your back. Now let's talk about Noble Gold Investments. Their process is similar.
Okay, what's the first step?
Just like Augusta, they encourage you to explore their website and then reach out for a personal consultation.
So you learn the basics, connect with their team, and then...
If you decide to go with an IRA, Noble Gold helps you set up a self-directed IRA with a recommended custodian.
Okay.
They'll streamline all the paperwork and make sure everything's done right. Then you fund the IRA. Again, you can roll over funds from an existing retirement account or contribute directly.
Got it. So the funding process is pretty much the same as with Augusta.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. And once the account is funded, it's time to pick those precious metals.
Right. And do they offer the same level of guidance as Augusta during that process?
They do. Their team will work with you to select the metals that align with your goals. They have a variety of options: gold, silver, platinum, palladium, plus those emergency packs, of course. Right, those pre-selected kits for those just-in-case scenarios. So both companies really prioritize that personalized guidance, which is great for investors who want that extra support.
Exactly. It's about empowering investors, not just selling them something.
I love that. All right, before we move on, let's do a quick recap of the pros and cons of each company.
Great idea. Let's start with Augusta Precious Metals.
Okay, what are their big pluses?
Their commitment to education is huge. They really empower their clients with knowledge, and their ongoing support is amazing, especially that lifetime support.
Yeah, that's a big differentiator.
It is. Now, there are a couple of downsides to consider. Their IRA minimum is $50,000, which can be a hurdle for some folks. And while they have a good selection of gold and silver, they don't offer platinum or palladium.
So if you're looking for more variety, Augusta might not be the best fit.
Right.
Okay, now let's switch gears to Noble Gold Investments. What are their strengths?
Their lower IRA minimum of $20,000 is a big plus for many investors, makes it more accessible. And they offer a wider variety of metals than Augusta, including platinum and palladium, plus those emergency packs.
Right. Those emergency packs are a unique feature, and they make it easy to transfer your existing retirement funds with their IRA rollover service.
Exactly. And their customer service is generally well regarded.
Okay, so lots of good things going for them. But what about potential downsides? What should investors be aware of?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, they're a relatively new company, so their long-term track record isn't as established, and their storage fees are a bit higher than Augusta's.
Right. That's something to factor in for sure.
And we did note that they have some mixed customer reviews, some concerns about communication or fees.
So it's important to do your research and read those reviews carefully.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we've done a great job laying out the key features, the services, and the things to consider for both Augusta and Noble Gold.
Yeah, this is a great starting point for our listener.
It is. Now, how do you actually decide?
Good question.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground, but now it's decision time. Choosing between Augusta Precious Metals and Noble Gold investments, it can feel overwhelming.
It can. There's a lot to consider.
There is. So how do we break this down for our listener? What are some key questions they should be asking themselves?
Well, first and foremost, I think you got to consider your investment timeline. Are you in it for the long haul, looking for steady growth over time, or are you thinking more short term?
Okay, so long-term versus short-term, that makes sense. How does that play into choosing between these two companies?
Well, Augusta Precious Metals, with their emphasis on education and lifetime support, they seem geared towards those long-term investors.
Right. They're all about building those lasting relationships.
Exactly. They want to guide you every step of the way. Noble Gold, on the other hand, with their lower minimum investment and those emergency packs, they might appeal to someone who's thinking a little more short-term, maybe someone who wants more flexibility.
Okay, so timeline is key. What else should our listener be thinking about?
How much support do you need? Some investors love doing their own research and making their own decisions.
The DIY approach.
Exactly. But others prefer to have a team of experts in their corner, ready to answer questions and provide guidance.
So are you a lone wolf investor, or do you prefer a more collaborative approach?
Exactly. And another biggie, your budget. How much are you comfortable investing up front? Noble Gold has that lower IRA minimum, which can be attractive.
Right, $20,000 versus $50,000 with Augusta.
But remember, those storage fees with Noble Gold can add up over time, so you got to factor that in. Sometimes what seems cheaper up front might end up costing you more down the road.
Always got to look at the big picture. All right, any other pearls of wisdom for our precious metals ponderer? What's that one key insight they should walk away with?
Think about your risk tolerance. Investing in precious metals, just like any investment, carries risks. Gold and silver prices can go up and down.
They can, and they do.
So before you jump in, ask yourself, how comfortable am I with that? Can I stomach those fluctuations, or do I prefer something a bit more stable?
So are you a roller coaster rider, or do you prefer the carousel?
Great analogy. Now, how does that play into choosing between Augusta and Noble Gold?
Yeah, how does risk tolerance fit in here?
Well, Augusta, with their long-term focus and all that educational support, they might be a good fit for someone who's a bit more risk-averse, someone who values stability and guidance.
Makes sense. And what about Noble Gold?
Noble Gold, with their diverse offerings and those emergency packs, might be better suited for someone with a higher risk tolerance, someone who's comfortable with a little more volatility, and maybe wants the option of accessing their assets more quickly.
Okay, so Augusta for the steady-as-she-goes investor. Noble Gold for the more adventurous type.
Right. But remember, this is just a starting point. Do your research. Carefully consider your own situation and pick the company that aligns with your goals and your comfort level.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, for our listeners who are ready to take the next step, check out the links to both companies' websites in the show notes.
Yep, you'll find tons of info there, services, fees, customer testimonials. Take your time, do your homework, and make the best choice for you.
And remember, this is your financial future.
Yeah.
Invest wisely. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a little challenge, something to chew on as you continue your research.
Oh, I love a good challenge. What is it?
Think beyond gold and silver. We focused on these two today, but there's a whole world of alternative investments out there.
You mean like rare earth metals?
Bingo. These metals are super important for all sorts of tech we use every day. Smartphones, electric vehicles, you name it.
And demand is only going to increase, right? As tech keeps evolving.
Exactly. So here's your homework, listeners. Take some time to learn about rare earth metals, what they are, what they're used for, and what their investment potential might be.
It's a fascinating area to explore.
It is. And you never know, you might uncover a hidden gem for your portfolio.
It could be a really smart move, especially with the way technology's going these days.
Right? And hey, if you discover something interesting in your research, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, share your findings. We're all about learning from each other.
You can find us on social media, shoot us an email. We love connecting with our listeners.
We do. Now, I think it's safe to say we've covered the world of precious metals investing pretty thoroughly today.
We have. We looked at Augusta Precious Metals, Noble Gold investments, talked about IRAs, direct purchases, fees, customer reviews. even those emergency packs.
And don't forget those rare earth metals.
Right. We even threw in a little bonus challenge there. So hopefully our listeners feeling much more confident and informed about how to invest in precious metals for their retirement.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right?
It is. And remember, this is just the beginning of your precious metals journey.
There's always more to learn, more to explore.
So keep researching, keep asking questions, and keep striving for those financial goals.
Great advice.
Thanks. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into precious metals. We hope you enjoyed it.
We did.
And until next time, happy investing, everyone.